Welcome back, BN owners. I know it's been a long time since I've put out a video, but my job has just ran me down, man. The time that I got off for the COVID, they're getting that back with interest, I'm telling you. So I've been working my butt off. They don't give me no time anymore. So it's been a long time since, I've recorded anything. So today we're going to do the oil change, and you may be like, oh great, another boring video, but there are people out there that don't know how to do it and want to know how to do it, so we're going to do it step by step. And if you're advanced, just skip through some of the parts. I've been asked to show even the jack points, where you jack it up and how to go about doing that. So today is going to be a little more in depth, and it's going to be an oil change. Let's get to it. Alright, so here's the jack. Got my jack stands. We're going to show you how to properly put this up on jack stands. I put mine on jack stands when I do the oil because I remove the skid plate. The reason I do that is because the oil filter, they have a hole for the oil filter to gain access to it. But I take my skid plate off because I don't want oil dripping on top of it, coming down and giving me false indications of an oil leak later on when it actually comes down or seeps out of it. So you park your car and then you move it and then you see oil on the ground and you're wondering where it came from. So I just go ahead and remove my skid plate. Not everybody does this. I don't know, but I do. You don't have to, but I do. So let's get to the jack. Okay, jack stand, jack locations. You're gonna go up underneath your skirt here, and you're gonna see these indents right here. There's an indent right there and then one right here. I put my jack stands here. I jack it up just behind it and then put my jack stands in between these two. If you can see that, I want it to focus. There we go. Oh god dang it, there you go. Yep, right there and right there. Jack stand right in the middle. Now I'll jack it up from over here, make sure I have room so I can get my jack stand in there. And that's where it is. And this is actually, okay, so you're facing, so there's the front of the car. This is the front wheel. And it's directly, pretty much underneath your driver's side and passenger side rear view mirror right there. So I got my jack up underneath. I have it jacked up. And my front wheel is off the ground right here. Now the thing with jack stands, if your jack's not high enough, your jack stand, you try to lift it and it's hitting the car, so you're gonna have to go up further than what your jack can go, because I can't push this up. So now you're gonna have to jack it up even further up so that you can get the notches to engage and get it to the height you want. Okay, so we got our jack stands in position. I actually use 2 notches. That's perfect for me to get up underneath there to get the skid plate off. I always leave my jack right there, pumped up, the handle twisted so that you have hydraulic power, because if anything happens, God forbid, but if the car comes down and you can scream for somebody, you can tell them your jack is over here, just start pumping it up. So I always leave my jack up and ready to go and tight. With your jack stands, when you put them in, just make sure your handle is on the outside. So when you jack it up and you want to lower these, it's easier to get to. Just pull them up. Do not pull these while your car is on it. Do not do that. Okay, so we're underneath. Here's the skid plate. And right here is the hole for your filter. You can see that. And this is why I take it off, because the oil is going to drip down and then just make a mess. So I just removed my skid plate. So let's get to the clips. There's one right here. They're all over the place, but go ahead and get yourself a flathead screwdriver. Just go ahead and put your screwdriver in there. Twist it till it pops out. There you go, just like that. And then you can, sorry for this, I'm working with one hand. So then you can just pull this out. And then we're going to get to our 10mm bolts that are along here, and take those out and remove your skid plate. And there's a couple other bolts back here too that you're gonna have to take out. So we've got the skid plate off. Right there's your filter. That's your oil filter, and right behind it is your oil pan, and this bolt right here, actually plug right here, that is your drain plug for your oil pan. So you have your filter directly behind it, your drain plug. So we're gonna go ahead and get to that here in a second. Alright, so before we continue with this oil, I gotta tell you, you have to get your oil up to temp. You can either let it idle till it gets up to temp, or you could do the funner part of it, drive it around, have some fun like I did. Now, the oil that I use is Quaker State because they recommend it. Is there better oils? Yeah. I don't know what you use or what you want. I'm not telling you to use Quaker, but that's what they recommend. This is what I use. I use a 520, 5W20, because that parameter falls great on my winters down here in Maryland and my summers. Now, for your state, go ahead and get into the manual and read on what, you know, your winters. If you have a really harsh winter, you're going to want a thinner oil. And, you know, they'll set parameters of, you know, your winter and summer months, and then just use that oil. So I use a 520 because of Maryland's winters and summers. And I also use a Fram oil filter. I just like them. I don't know what you use, but you know, I use Fram. And the third thing you want to get is a new gasket for your drain plug. And I do have to give a shout out to Shady Hyundai of Waldorf. I called them and I asked them if they had the gasket because AutoZone and Advanced Auto don't have it. And he said it was like $2 something cents for one of them. And I went down there and my man hooked me up. He said, here's 2 of them, don't worry about it, we have a lot of them. So I got 2 for free, and I got to give a shout out to Shady Hyundai of Waldorf. So let's get into this oil change. Go ahead and pop your hood, take your engine cover off, and let's go ahead and remove our oil cap. Just set that to the side. Now the reason why you want to do that is for when you pull your drain plug underneath, there's air getting to it and all your oil will come out really good. And then later on, we're gonna do this together. I haven't even checked this yet. So we're gonna go ahead and pop this open. This is my oil catch can, and we're gonna see how much oil is in that. So for the first time together, we're gonna see how much oil is in that Add W1 catch can. Okay, so we're up underneath the car. We're gonna go ahead and take our drain plug out. I do have a catch right here. I do put paper underneath just in case the oil drips. I don't want my garage floor all oily. So go ahead and grab yourself a 17mm socket, and we're going to go ahead and loosen up this bolt, or plug, I'm sorry, plug. And it should be loose. Yep, it came loose. Now what I'm going to do is just loosen that up with my hand. Now remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. We're going to go ahead and take this out, and you'll see this drain. There we go. There's the drain plug. And my oil doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it's dark, but it's not too bad. So we're going to let that drain. Okay, that looks good. It's dripping just a little bit. Went ahead and put my new gasket on. And we're going to go ahead and install the plug. Go ahead and tighten that up. Alright, that's about good. So now let's get to the oil filter. Okay, now that we have our pan drained and our plug with a new gasket put back in, we're going to go ahead and do our oil filter. Got my pan underneath it, And if you can get it off with your hands, that's great. I'm going to need a tool. I know that because I just tried it and I can't get it off with my hands. But I use this tool. It's adjustable. I like this tool. A lot of people don't like it. But hey, use whatever works for you. This works for me. So let's go ahead and get that off. Alright, it's loosened up, so now we're going to go ahead and just turn it till it comes off. And there's your oil leaking now. And it sure does make a mess, so that's why I always take my skid plate off, as you can see. Okay, so we got our new filter. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my oil, my new oil, and I'm going to pour oil in this and then take my finger and lube the gasket up and then put it on. The reason I do that is I know this is full when I put it on, so when I go up and fill my pan, I know that both my pan and my filter are full. So, and I also lube the gasket so that it, you know, doesn't have a chance to rip or shape or anything like that, you know. So just lube it up with just, you know, stick your finger in there and lube it up after you pour oil in there. So let's go ahead and do that. We got our new filter in, our drain plug with new gasket is in. I went ahead and wiped down all the excess oil that had dripped down so that I don't get a false indication of oil leak after I put my skid plate on. And you know, this is a good position you want your car in for when you drain your oil. You want the front end up and your rear end down at an angle because of that drain plug. So all your oil is going to come down and drain out. Now if it's flat, you know, you're still going to have some in the pan. It's just going to sit in the pan, some of your old oil. So, you know, get it at an angle as much as you can so that most, if not all of that old oil will come right out. Okay, so we got the skid plate back on. We dropped the car down. The jack stands are out. Now what you're going to do is go ahead and remove your dipstick, and your dipstick is going to be right here. Just go ahead and remove that as you see I did and wipe it down so it's clean. This is my new oil funnel. I only use new oil with this funnel so that I don't get contaminants back inside the engine, and I do conceal this in a bag so that nothing can get in there, no bugs, nothing. So after I use it, I just put it in a concealed bag, put it away so that I know everything that I put in here in my engine is going to be clean. We got it filled up. Let's go ahead and put your dipstick in, let it sit there for right around 20 seconds or so, and then pull it out and we'll check our level. So we'll just pull it out, and I'll show you how to read this here. Now you have an L and an F. Let me see if I can get this in focus. There we go. So here's your F. There's the F and the L right there. Look at this. It's really hard to put this in focus. And then you're going to see your oil level is at full. So now that we have it at full right here, what we're going to do is put this back in, put the cap back on, and we're going to start the car and let it run for, you know, 2-3 minutes. Let the oil circulate through all of the systems, and then go ahead and check your level again. But before I do that, let's go ahead and check what's in that catch can right there. So let's get that off. First thing you want to do is, if you do have the Add W1, go ahead and take your dipstick out, like so. Set that to a side, and let's go ahead and get the can off, which it unscrews from the bottom here. So we got our can off. Let's see how much oil is in it. And some of you have been asking, how's that catch can doing? How much oil did you have in it? Well, right now we're about to find out together. This is the first time I've ever taken it off. So let's pour it out, and we'll see how much oil we have collected. That seems to be about it. Yeah, that's it right there. So, as you can tell, not too much, but it's that much that's not going into my engine. So, believe me or not, catch can is a really good idea for these GDI engines. I just showed you how much oil would have gone through your engine and, you know, built up carbon and all that kind of stuff. So, add W1. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I let the car run for around 3 minutes. I went ahead and pulled my dipstick, wipe it clean, put it back in there, then pull it out and check your level of your oil. And as expected, it did take the entire 5 quarts, and that's why I fill the filter. I'll fill the filter and then put that on, and then put the rest of the 5 quarts in the engine. It's a perfect level. So what Hyundai did was, you cannot over torque your oil cap. As you can tell, I'll show you. When you over tighten it, it's going to do this. It's not going to allow you to over torque it. Good job, Hyundai. So with your Fram oil filter, or any oil filter at that matter, when you put it on, just go ahead and put it on hand tight. You know, just hand tight, as much as you can turn it, just with your hand. That way, you know, you're not going to damage any threads. You're not going to pop a seal. You know, it's not going to be over torqued. So just go ahead and put your filter just hand tight. Okay, hey, that's an oil change on our car. We went ahead and checked that Add W1 catch can. And, you know, my comeback video, because I haven't posted anything for a while, is an oil change. But, hey, you know, I'm trying to get that content out there, man. My job's got me working weekends every day, man. Like, just, it's crazy. They're getting that COVID time off with interest, like I said before. Yeah, so for your advanced people, you know, you can skip through all this. I know I'm detailed in here, but I want to be, because I don't know what you know, if that makes sense. So I want to be as detailed as I can so that I can help other people out that don't know how to do certain things. Maybe they want to break out and be independent and, you know, just be able to do this stuff, and they just need confidence. And that's why I do my videos, really, because I like helping people out. I really do. And you know, it's no big thing. For you advanced people, you might not even watch the video, or maybe out of pure boredom you might watch it. Hopefully I'm entertaining, I don't know. But, you know, I do have some more stuff coming out. I've contacted some developers and some companies, and I'm just waiting on some feedback, not feedback, but information on when they're going to come out with some parts. I do have some more interesting stuff for it. I'm just waiting for it to be developed, because as you know, this car is new and there's not a lot of parts out there yet. So I'm just waiting for that. I do have content coming out. It will happen. Just waiting for the parts to be made, man. If I could build it myself, if I had a machine shop, I would do it myself. But yeah, so just stand by for all that. And you know, even with the jack stands, and as I'm saying, like detail stuff, with the jack and jack stands, I had a request. Hey, you know, can you show how to properly jack up a car? And this is where I'm going with, I don't know what you know. So let me know what you don't know. And if you have a request, man, I'll put it in my video. I have no problem with that. I want to help you out. And yeah, so that's where the jack and jack stand location and how to properly do that came up. So there you go. Alright, hey, I'm N-FullSend, and as always, drive safe.